What do you think this whole experience of 2020 is going to do for the art world? Like, I've heard some things on TV and radio that this is going to unleash all this amazing creativity, that people are, the Black Lives Matter, like there's a lot of angst that has been building up that's going to release. What do you think this is going to do?
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, all of my artist friends are, whatever they're doing in relation to this, they're keeping personal. I haven't really seen a lot of, I mean, I've seen things, obviously I've seen things online, I've seen other things. For me, I mean, that piece that you saw, that drawing that eventually became in many ways the painting I'm working on now, that's really the only thing that I personally have done as a direct response, though I've done lots of other things in my studio that I know are in one way or another influenced by what's been happening. Because of the fact that I am sort of trapped in my house, like many of us are, and again, I live alone, so I really miss that interaction. I can't have my friends over to my studio to see what I'm doing and interact with them and ask them how they feel about things, etc. I've done that through Zooms, like this. My friend Marcus that I mentioned, the printmaker, lives in Iowa, and we frequently Zoom, and we react in that way. There's a show that's going to open in 2 weeks that I'm curating, based on it's based on Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. I was just working there this afternoon in the gallery. It's going to be in downtown Haverhill. I will post things on social media, and I did a very large life-size skeleton piece for that show, and I'm also showing some pretty old drawings of mine based on Day of the Dead and some other things. They're very large drawings that'll be in that. And then there's a whole bunch of other people. We created an altar, traditional altar. We did that today, but other people are going to add to it. So if you're around Haverhill, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll see the announcement. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's marcmannheimer.studio. My whole name spelled right out, so it's easy. And that's where the only reason I use Instagram, I use it professionally, so I put recent work up there occasionally. I don't do a whole lot that way. I've always been very private about what I'm doing. I know other artists are like this too. I mean, I shared with all of you what I'm working on right now, but pretty much no one's seen it because you can't come here, you can't see it in that regard. I usually don't like sharing work until it's finished, because I never know how I'm going to feel about it. I mean, I look at paintings that I did, last year or 2 years ago or 10 years ago, and all I do is see things that are wrong with them. So, and those of you who create can probably relate in some way to that. That's just me. I've always been that way. I don't like to talk about what I'm working on a lot because I feel it affects it. I mean, I don't know, like it's going to drain the energy out of it or something. I honestly don't know, but that happens. So, yeah.
Do you have a website too, or?
Well, I do, but it's not, I mean, it's being upgraded. That's probably the best way to say it. If you Google me, you'll get to see some of that stuff. But my website is not very complete. I think what's on it right now are maybe 2 of those rock prints. That's it, because I took everything off of it. I'm redoing it completely. So it'll be back up sometime. I don't know. I can't say when, but.
And also, where do you exhibit, or do you have any, is it always near you, like in Massachusetts, or do you have other places?
No, I mean, I've shown my work all over the world. Presently, my dealer happens to be based in Massachusetts. But she doesn't have a gallery. She gets me into things, that kind of stuff. I mean, the gallery in downtown Haverhill, where my work with this show I'm curating, it's called the Switchboard Gallery, which is great space. But otherwise, I'm not represented by anybody presently. I've always had issues with the gallery system. I mean, I've been represented by galleries in Chicago and in New York, and in Europe. The problem for me has always been that when you have a show and work sells, and then the dealer wants you to keep doing the same thing.
Mhm.
And I can't keep doing the same thing. I mean, and I'm not alone in this. I mean, there are many artists who feel that way. And so I usually don't, I mean, maybe someday I'll find a gallery, a dealer, who likes everything I do and will always want to show it, I don't know. But over the years, I've probably sold much more work out of my studio myself than I've ever sold in shows, but my work is in collections and that kind of stuff. But the important thing to me is to do it. That's what's most important. So.
Sean and Barb, are you both artists as well? I'm just curious.
I was an art major at Bradford. I got my degree in photography at UC Riverside, California. But I didn't make a living at it. It's really hard. So I just retired in May of 2019 from my job. And so, yes, I do it, but I'm completely interested. I grew up outside New York City. I went to the Met when I was very young. I had a grandfather who was a commercial artist. So yes, I was exposed to it early on. And I was telling Mark that my professor was Douglas Hubler, and he was a conceptual artist. So I never did any drawing or painting or anything at Bradford. It was all conceptual. So it was very.
Where'd you grow up, Barb?
Bronxville, Westchester County.
Because I grew up in Yonkers.
Oh, cool. Right next door.
What high school did you go to?
Bronxville High School.
Bronxville. I went to Lincoln.
Oh, Bronxville School. It was
Yeah.
all in one.
Yeah, I went to Lincoln High School. Yeah.
Okay. That's funny. Yeah.
And you were able
so,
to take the train into New York.
What?
You were able to take the train into New York, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Very close, 30 minutes. So anyway, so yeah.
I'm from the LA suburbs, but when I was growing up, the bus system wasn't that great. So I wasn't really able to get around then.
Yeah. Well,
And Sean, are you an artist as well?
I did try to take a pretty decent stab at it when I first got out of college, but I wasn't really able to get any footholding. I was at Bradford in '97, and I was supposed to graduate class 2001, but as we all know, it closed in 2000. So afterwards I went to Roger Williams and completed my art education there. I taught at a private school for about a year, and I did some art shows around and stuff like that, but nothing ever really took hold, and then I needed to start paying bills, so I had to do something.
Yes, but you're all artists, right? I mean, whether you
yes, yeah. I mean,
you're still artists.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been able to create much recently because I've got two little ones running around the house because they create enough of of a mess. I don't need to add to that mess, I guess.
I've been an artist all my life, though obviously I've made my primary income has been teaching most of the time, though I worked as an art director in New York, etc. But in all my years as a professional artist, there's only been 2, maybe 3 years that I've ever actually been able to live off my work. It's not easy. It's just not easy. So I know you understand, Barb. The important thing, as I said, for me is that I just need to do it. I mean, I have no choice. I look at it that way. I'm never going to stop. So that's what's important.
And I'm wondering if people for me, I've been much more creative during this time. I've been trying different things, and with my photography and with, the painting, watercolors, like I said, I took that up, and pen and ink and just different things. And it's just been a very productive time for me, but I don't have kids, I'm retired. I don't have any kids. I don't, I'm alone. I live alone. So it's a good time for me. It's been a good time.
That's good. That's good.
I'm fortunate.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still teaching, and I'm teaching 4 courses online. And as I was talking to Sean about earlier, and it's an unbelievable amount of work. I haven't, when this thing first started, I think, oh, wow, I'll have so much more time in the studio. No, it hasn't been that way at all, And then once we were told that we're going to be fully online this semester, we're actually going to be online in the spring too. But once we were told we we're going to be fully online in the fall now, so then we had to develop all our courses to be online courses. We got paid for that, but that's what I did the whole summer. So it's not like I had the summer off when, to be in my studio. I mean, I would have been in Italy, but I couldn't do that. So that's why, in response to your question, Kristen, that's why I really haven't been able to produce a whole lot of stuff with, during this free time, because it's not free,
Right.
Yeah. And most of the artists that I'm friendly with also teach. So
Right.
everybody's doing the same thing, So
I was thinking a lot historically when there's been great upheavals like the Russian Revolution or
yeah,
whatever, artist response has created amazing art that has changed the art world based
So
on
my
political,
feeling,
social things happening.
my feeling is that whenever this is over, who knows when that's going to be, there'll be some amazing shows. There'll be some amazing shows of the work that everybody's been doing, Who knows when that's going to be, at this point, might not be till 22, who knows?
We're gonna see a show with Barb by then.
Yeah. Because Barb, you've been doing all this wonderful work. So.
No, it's not show material. It's really more for me.
Yeah, well, that's
never
okay.
know.
That's okay. I mean, as I told you, like I mentioned that in 2011, I did my Suite 365, and so I produced 365 works just for that. I did other things that year. The only pieces from that series that I've ever shown are those 6 drawings that my prints are based on. I've never shown any of the other work from that 365. They're in numbered envelopes in one of the flat files in my studio. Who knows if I'll ever show them. That's not as important to me as doing the work. I guess that's probably the best way to describe it. And I know friends are doing work, but not a whole lot of people are showing the stuff they're doing in relation to what we're going through.
Great.
Because I have lots of artist friends who are doing things, but not necessarily as a response to or relation to. It's like the 9/11 painting of mine that I showed you. That was deliberate. I deliberately wanted to do something in response to what had happened. And I've done things like that, that the big tsunami in Japan a number of years ago, I did some pieces in relation to that. And so that kind of stuff happens.
Well, thank you, Mark.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
It was a
Thank
treat.
you all. And
It was a treat. I've known you for a long time, but I've never seen as much insight into you as I have tonight.
well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
It
And
was
I would
my
love to see.
pleasure. You all have my email address. You feel free to communicate. And as always, Kristen, I forgot to record. I started recording this after I had already done the presentation, but
We'll get it.
but I can if people want the PowerPoint, I'll gladly send people the PowerPoint.
Oh,
Sure,
that would be
great.
I'd like to share it with my former roommate from Bradford, who is still a friend. She lives in New York and she's painting now.
Oh,
She's a
good.
painter. I mean, she's taking painting classes, so she would love to see it.
Wonderful. Okay.
We're
Well,
trying to put this series online, so that would be great if you wanted to share the PowerPoint.
yeah, I'll put that in with it. So,
Yeah,
Right.
thanks again for sharing. I mean, it definitely inspired me to want to go and put the kids down early to bed so I can start wrapping some canvas and got some
Carve out
ideas
a little
flowing.
me time.
and
Right.
Sean, I'm in communication with on Facebook occasionally, so I know
Yeah.
that, and Jennifer, you
Yeah.
too.
Come on,
Uh-huh.
you're on your
Thank
Instagram
you.
too.
And Vern, who's muted at the moment, I'm also in communication with her on Facebook as well. So, all right, well, thank you all. And
Thank you so much.
next
Thank
week,
you.
it's
Rich Murphy,
Murphy. Yeah. Okay.
new book of poetry, just got published this week.
All right. Now, you know what, Kristen? Since there seems to be some issue with my email, I don't know what the issue is.
Well, Rich and Karen are gonna do their own, so we're
Oh,
all set.
Oh, so you don't
Because
need
he has
me.
a, yeah,
Okay.
he has a UMass, I always need you.
Well, you know
He
what I
has a
do.
UMass account, and Karen Shagru is gonna use her partner's account.
Okay, cool.
So
right.
it just helps to do beyond 40 minutes, because otherwise it's very short.
Right. All right.
So, and I hope you can tune in for it.
yeah, make sure I get the invite.
I will.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good night.